Awesome. So today we're going to talk about what AI is. We're going to try it out together and go over some things to watch out for. So, what is AI? AI stands for artificial intelligence. It's software that can do things that usually would take human reasoning to figure out rather than a simple set of code or instructions. Many people make an analogy and say that it's like a smart assistant that's read millions of books and can talk with you about those books or internet resources or anything that's fed into the AI. A little bit more about how it learns is that it seeks patterns in data that's given to the AI. So these companies will take millions of books and internet resources and videos and feed it into the AI. And what the AI will do is do its best guess of how to answer your question based off of all of the data it has together. So rather than doing something like if someone's says X, respond with Y, you can ask it a question in natural language and it will use that data and make its best guess to give you the reply. AI programs are intended to handle complex problems that were previously not possible by standard code. AI is a tool, not a person. So while it can sound like a person, it doesn't actually have feelings or opinions. It's doing thousands of calculations to decide what the most likely word is based off of the question you ask it. So what can AI do? AI was, in the sense that we think of it today, was used for natural language processing first. It excels at things like writing emails, answering questions, translation, language translation, and summarizing long documents. AI can generally answer more specific questions than a Google search can. Rather than returning search results when you enter your question, it'll just try to answer your question directly. So, something to note is that modern chat interfaces will also remember all of the chats you have with them and inference those as context for the new questions you might ask. So, if you've asked something similar before, it'll remember that answer and pull it for you. Or if you've given it some details like, hey, I like the color red, and you ask, what's my favorite color in a different chat, it will remember that across chats. Because AI is so strong at language processing and guessing the next word, uh, that means it's also very strong at reasoning across languages. So you can use it for translation, and it might give a more natural sounding translation than something like Google Translate might give. AI can also generate images. Different models do this with varying quality, but the idea is the same. You can describe what you want to see in natural language, and it will use all of its data as a reference to create an image from your prompt. Modern AIs also have strong data analysis capabilities and can even generate entire reports based off of data sets like Excel files that you give to it. So today we're going to be looking at three of the leading models. Although there are many more online, these have been around for a long time and will stay for a long while. We also chose these options because they are free as long as you have an email and a phone number. Um, and they give you some limited capability entirely for free. So we're going to do a short demo of these models. First, we're going to start with ChatGPT. So what we're going to do here is change over. And this is the interface for ChatGPT. So today I won't go over login. You do need, like I mentioned, an email and a phone number. But once you get there, you can, or to get there, you can type chatgpt.com. I'm sure you've heard it a million times, so it's pretty easy to find it. So we can ask AI very specific questions, something that when you Google search, you typically would need to click on a few links and sift through the information to find what you need. For this AI, we're going to try something pretty straightforward, but that is a little more taxing than what a Google search could give us. So let's ask, when does the Santa Clara City Library close on Tuesdays? So something to note before I hit enter, what the AI is going to do is it's going to inference all of that data that it has stored up, and it's going to put the pieces together as best as it can to give us the answer to our question. When I hit enter, you'll see that the AI tries, you can watch it think. When you hit enter, the text will come across the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter and you can watch all the text come. So as it searches, here you can see the text start bleeding onto the screen. So here you can see it answered our question and it said, depends on which branch. So we have three libraries within our branch, and it's going to let us know that all the main branches or all of our branches close at 7 p.m. So something that we can do after this is go, oh, that's great. We can keep going and continue our conversation with AI. So as you can see, we have three messages remaining on the free tier. But what we can do is say, great. Um, what are the hours for all days at all of their branches? Let me fix that typo. Although if you leave typos in, it's pretty intelligent and can recognize that. And let's continue this conversation and see what it says. So now it's going to search the web again for us, and it's going to even generate a map of the locations. And here it will give us all of the hours. And something to note here, I think all of the hours are correct on this one. So this looks okay. And we'll mention more about making sure it's correct later. And what you can see is that it actually can intelligently synthesize this data and go further and even give us um, insights that it finds. So as you can see, it says all branches close at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Central Park has the longest hours and the only one with Sunday access, which is true. And Mission is the one that opens the earliest at 9 a.m., um, which I actually didn't know. And when I was writing this, I had to verify that. And it is true. They do open at 9 a.m. Um, most days, except for Tuesday. And we can continue this conversation with ChatGPT, but what I'm going to do in this case is we're actually going to start a new chat, and I'm going to show you the image creation capabilities as well. So when I start a new chat, I actually have one here that I came up with. So we're going to generate an image today that you probably no one would ever Photoshop unless it was requested. So we're going to see the capabilities of what it can do. So we're going to generate an image of a stop sign inside of a fishbowl with Atlantis in the back. And we're also going to make it look like a stock photo and have a dog looking at a fish inside from behind the glass. So let me fix my typo here. And we're going to see what the AI comes up with. We're just going to wait here for it. We might run out of free credits. We'll find out. But I think it's going to go ahead and do it for us. So you can see it shows it's thinking, and there it is. So it's pretty close. Um, and this is a good, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but something that AI can do is what it's going to do is only its best guess of what you want. So it got the stop sign, it got Atlantis, it got the fish, it got the dog looking at it. The only thing is that I made a distinction to get the dog looking at the fish from behind the glass. So we would have wanted to see the dog behind the glass. But this is a pretty good example of how fast it can generate images, how mostly accurate it can, and we have to be mindful that AI won't always be 100% right, which um, you just have to watch out for. Sometimes you can get around this by continuing to prompt it. So if we ask this AI to fix the image, it'll do another guess, and it might be worse, it might be better, but you have to do your own research and make sure that what you want is correct information. Let's move on to the next one here, which is going to be Gemini. So what's different by with Gemini? We'll go over some of the intricate details, but the main part is that this one is connected to your Google Suite. So that means Google Drive if you use that, Google Docs, Google Sheets. You can optionally connect this to that. And we're going to go ahead and show you a similar question, a little bit more difficult. Um, so let's keep it on the fast model. So you also can change the models. So what a model is that it essentially means that they have different computational power, so different amount of power they consume, different data sets, and different algorithms are used to train them. So the fast one is the one that the free tier is going to give you. And to ask another question, we're going to type in what tech classes are offered by the Tech Center at the Santa Clara Library when are/were they offered. Then let me, okay, and then we're going to see how Google answers. So you'll notice the personality that it's coded or programmed with is a little bit different. And Google is really good at synthesizing research information. So let's see what it says here. So there's our class today, the generative AI class, March 17th, 5:30 to 6:30. So that is correct. And here's some of the other classes we've taken. And here's something to note actually is you can see here it says computer basics. Well, these are offered monthly. And when I ran this prompt earlier, when I was testing it out, it actually said that our something like our one-on-one tech health happens once a month, which actually what it's doing again, it's doing its best approximation. But the information that it gave me the first time wasn't correct because the one-on-one tech help isn't on a designated schedule. We do it when our tech aides have the availability to do it. So it's always important to take the information the AI gives you and cross-verify it. So you can take it with not necessarily a grain of salt, but whenever you have information like this, for example, where it says personalized 15 to 30-minute appointments, you might want to check the actual flyer and see whether it is actually 15 to 30 minutes and it didn't imagine that or do an incorrect guess on that information. Another great thing about Google Gemini is it tells you exactly where it got the information from. So if we click on this little link logo right here, it looks like a chain link. It will show us all where each bullet point was pulled from. So you can click on that and it'll take you to the actual website as well. And the last one we're going to go through is Claude. So I'm not going to show a similar prompt for this one. Um, Claude actually has a new feature. So this is a paid feature. We're not affiliated with Claude. The reason we're showing you this today is because most of these paid features end up actually coming to the free tiers. Um, like for example, Google Gemini, ChatGPT, or even the free version of Claude might have something like this. And it's called, or at least what I call it, is the Claude Show Me feature, where it will make an interface for you to interact with the information it gives you. So let's take an example of saying, "Hey Claude," and you don't have to call it Claude. You can just start typing, "Show me um, how my interest compounds over time with a high yield savings account. Add sliders so I can change my interest rate and initial investment. And let's add one more. So I'm going to take that out. And monthly contribution. And so what this is going to do is, let me make sure I'm on the right one. That should be okay. And what this is going to do is it's going to synthesize our request, and it's actually going to code up a really fast interface for us to use. You can see here it's giving us a display of what it's thinking of. And these do take a little bit of time, but all of these are getting faster and faster as we go through. So here you go. You can see the interest calculator, and we should be able to slide this around. Yeah. And you can tell, well, it works entirely correctly. So yeah, there's our initial deposit of 9,000. And as we change the APY, you can see how the amount of interest we earn, our monthly contribution, if you up it, the time horizon, you can see the classic exponential growth of the interest. And you can ask it really anything. So I asked it about investment, but what you can also ask it about is show me how photosynthesis works. Show me the tallest tree species versus shortest tree species. And it's going to take all of that and try to intelligently show you an interactive display that you can process the information through. Again, this is a paid feature, but the reason we show it to you is because it's probably coming to the free um, version soon, and we really want to emphasize the extent of what these new models are capable of. So let's get back to our presentation here. Let me open that one right there. Okay, so let's go through some of the strengths and weaknesses. So we've seen ChatGPT. So the free version gives you access to their best model. So as you saw, some of them had different models, and the higher models generally run out of free credit sooner. They cost more money, but ChatGPT does give us access to their highest model on the free tier, where the other ones only would give you access to their lowest model on the free tier. Um, and once you hit a cap on how much you've used the model, you'll run out of free usage for the day, and it'll reset on the next day. Many people like ChatGPT because they say it feels the most conversational for them, especially when exchanging ideas. Maybe you're trying to come up with an idea for a personal project for if you code. Um, so people say it's the easiest to bounce back and forth with. It's generally good for writing emails, brainstorming, getting quick answers, and as mentioned earlier, getting images. Google's also can create images, and ChatGPT and Google's image models, or yes, their image models are always slightly one on top of the other, and they always release a new one, and they're going back and forth. A big downside of ChatGPT is that it can be sycophantic. So what does sycophantic mean? It basically means that it can hallucinate and more specifically be overly agreeable with the user. So we're going to go over that a little bit more later, but just remember that ChatGPT is known to be sycophantic, and that's probably because it's the best to be conversational with. So it's inclined to agree with the user and not so much challenge your ideas. Claude is made by a company called Anthropic. Um, Claude's biggest strength, as I just showed you, is the show me capability. That is quite groundbreaking right now. It just came out, and none of the other models can do it. But you can rest assured that they're going to do their best to catch up and release their own version of that feature. Claude is really good for document analysis, analyzing concepts from documents that are like 20 pages, 30 pages, or even longer. It has good reasoning, so it is programmed in a way that challenges itself, so it makes sure it's not being sycophantic with the user. It still can be, all of them can be, but Claude is less likely to fall into that trap on its own. It also is great at data synthesis. So if you give it an Excel sheet or something like that, it's pretty much right now it's the leading model in data processing and getting insights out of your Excel sheets. So maybe you ask where all your money is going in a budget, or you can ask, if you're collecting precipitation data, what days it rain the most, Claude will be your model to go to for that. The big downside is that there's no image generation if that's something you're looking for, and the free tier is very limited. They tend to gear the model more towards its paid users, so you don't have much many messages you can exchange on the free tier. And lastly is Gemini. That's Google's. So the strong part about this one is that it integrates with the Google Suite. So that's Gmail, Google Docs, Google Search, Excel. The biggest advantage with this one is for researching data off of the internet. Since it is connected to Google, it has a bunch of data synthesize or research synthesizing capabilities where it'll go and based off your questions, start a bunch of Google searches and try to pull all the information it can and condense it into one answer for you. Google's also has image generation. If you want to look into it, the model is called Nano Banana, kind of a funny name. It rivals ChatGPT's image generation in terms of realism and accuracy. If you use Google, you actually don't need to sign up for this. You can just go to Gemini.com while you're logged into your Google account, and you can immediately start using it. Great. So let's talk a little bit about hallucinations. So AI is a bit of a double-edged sword. Sometimes AI just makes things up. It's making its best educated guess from its data set. When you ask it a tricky question that was not quite covered or hasn't been answered before by the data set, it can give some confidently wrong answers. For example, if you ask AI about specific local businesses, especially privately owned businesses or a person's biography, it might invent details that sound real but aren't. So the sycophancy problem, it means that AI tends to agree with you. So if you say something wrong, it might go along with you rather than correcting you. If you frame questions like, "Hey, I found this online. This is a bad answer, right?" And then you open another chat and go, "Hey, I found this online. This is a good answer, right?" You'll notice both of the replies are completely the opposite, and it will tend to agree with you on both. So you have to make sure that you ask questions that are based in fact and try to avoid loaded language as much as you can or leading language. So on the right over here, we can see an example of sycophancy, and we can see an example of the chat history integrating into the answers. So if we look on the right side, we see the user ask, "I want to wash my car. The car wash is only 50 meters from my home. Do you think I should walk there or drive there?" Us humans easily go, "Well, you're going to a car wash to wash a car, so you take the car there." But that's something that hasn't really been documented in text because it seems like kind of a silly thing to document. So the AI goes ahead and says walk. Now, something else that's really funny or peculiar about this one is that it says 50 meters is basically two TikTok scrolls of distance. Now, most people don't really talk like that. The reason the AI could be replying this way is because maybe the user has had some previous chats where they have talked to the AI using this so-called Gen Z-esque language. And the AI will pick up on the way that the user talks and reply in a way that the user is familiar with. So this is obviously an exaggeration, but in a smaller case, you might find some benefit where maybe you have talked about certain topics and it will remember those topics. So if you're getting resume help and you're applying for a new job, it'll remember what you talked about in your last resume and apply it to the new one. It can also go to this extreme where you have the AI saying that driving that distance is peak lazy NPC mode, which is quite silly. But I wanted to show this example because it's a great example of how the AI can make mistakes and also be inclined to mirror the user. All right, so always check your sources. AI is a great starting point, but it will never be the final word, especially for important decisions. So be specific with what you want to verify with AI. For medical info, legal questions, and financial decisions, I strongly suggest you do not use AI because if it makes any sort of mistake, you're on the hook for medical billing or a legal mishap or your money is gone. I personally don't recommend it, but if you are going to use it, definitely use it for things that you can verify on your own. If AI also cites a source, remember looking at the Gemini, it provides links of where it got information from. You should always visit those links for the information you want and make sure that that is actually the correct information it pulled off of the website. So, for example, where the one that said the one-on-one lessons are 10 to 30 minutes. We want to look and click on the link and make sure that the website actually says 10 to 30 minutes and the AI didn't make a mistake because it really can just simply say, "Oh, it's 10 to 30 minutes, but actually the max one is 10 minutes," for example, which isn't the case in our one-on-one sessions. But AI can make mistakes and confidently tell you the wrong information. So you always have to go check those links. In general, you can use AI to get a rough idea of your topic and then confirm the details with a trusted website or a real person. It's still a very strong tool for getting your first steps into researching a topic, though. All right, so let's talk a little more about AI image generation. So we have a slide coming up later about fake images. So that's where we'll really dive deep. But I wanted to show you some prompts that some people online have come up with. Here's a turtle reimagined as a ceramic structure. Someone generated a POV of probably military or war operations, and you can actually see Star Trek generated up here too. Um, so the reason I wanted to show this one is because AI is getting really impressive and very good. This clock looks like it could be a real product on Amazon, and someone might buy it, and it turns out they buy it and they get not that delivered to their door. Another thing is that there are some ethical concerns with AI, and or these AI models have come under scrutiny for how they access their data. And some people are making an argument, and I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong today, but I just think it's important to know that there's an argument being made that the AI models are generating images on copyrighted content or generating information based off of copyrighted and private data, or at least that's what they're being alleged of. And it's just important to note where some ethical boundaries might be for that, and that it's drawn in a different place for everyone. So I'm not here to tell you what to do, but more to let you know that there are some ethical concerns with this type of uh, image generation or AI usage. So let's talk about AI scams. This same technology that helps us process data and accelerate our research can also be used by bad actors. So we're going to cover voice cloning, deepfake video, and go a little more in depth about fake images. So the good news is that once you know more information about this, you become much harder to become a victim of one of these scams. So let's talk about voice replication first. AI can actually copy someone's voice from just a few seconds of audio, a voicemail, a video on Facebook, or even a phone greeting. Usually, the way these scams work is that someone will call pretending to be family or someone from work, saying that they're in trouble and need money right away. It'll sound very, very eerily similar to them. It's not, it's an AI generated voice. So the combat for this scam is to talk to those close to you and your family members and establish some sort of code word or phrase that only they know, so that if you run into this AI recreation of the voice, you can say, hey, what's the code word? And the AI won't know your physical or your personal conversation with these people. So the likelihood that it's going to be able to guess that word is very low, and that will confirm for you that it is, in fact, some sort of scam taking place. So let's talk about deepfake videos. So deepfake videos are where someone's face gets put onto another body or superimposed onto another body, or it makes someone look like they said something that they never actually said. So we can look at this example on the right here, where this guy Amini is taking his video and he's taking a picture of Obama and imposing that picture of Obama over his video. And he can actually use this in combination with the AI voice, the voice replicators, and make it sound like Obama is saying something that he wasn't saying. And again, this can happen to anyone. All you need is that few seconds of voice and the video or a picture of the person to go along with it. So in the past, scammers have actually used these deepfake video calls to trick employees into sending millions of dollars from companies to fake accounts. um, it can also be used to, of course, spread false information. So a fake video of a politician can go viral before anyone realizes it's not real. So some things you can watch for is that they have slightly unnatural blinking, so their eyes won't close all the way all the time when they blink. The lighting might not make sense, or you might see some blurry edges around the face. The audio might not be exactly in sync, or especially a big thing is details in the background. If there's any text back there, you'll see that the words aren't quite right. Um, so just because you see one of those things doesn't necessarily mean it's AI, but when you see a combination, It's almost certainly likely, and especially with the text in the back one, that one's almost always certain as well. Um, when in doubt, you can always check if the video has appeared on a trusted news source site before sharing it or ingesting it or choosing to believe it as well. So let's talk about fake image generation. So scammers can use the fake image generation to create realistic looking people for dating sites, social media, and phishing emails. You can also, like the Spock clock we saw earlier, you can make fake product photos, and it might show photos of something that looks fantastic but isn't a real product. Um, with these pictures, you can look for things like skin that's too smooth, the backgrounds are warped, the hands don't look quite right, jewelry might not be the same on both sides, even though it's supposed to look the same, or just small details that don't quite line up. Also, if a photo looks too perfect, it is something to be cautious about if it's someone that you don't know trying to contact you. Um, so at some point, this photo on the right of the Pope wearing a big white puffy jacket actually went viral, and millions of people believed it, and even some news outlets believed it until the person who created the image came out and said, "Hey, that actually was fake. I did it to be funny and to." I think it was a satirical page that made the image, and again, it just goes to show how good this technology is getting, especially when you're just skimming. One detail we can look at is that his hand down here is not really holding onto this bottle quite right. So that's one thing to look for, but in general, you'll always see some small things that are peculiar. You can also copy paste this image into Google and ask it if it's AI, and it actually will be able to tell you if it was generated with that Google AI, the Nano Banana one. Um, and there's a very complex way that works, and we maybe we can do another class on AI literacy specifically for that. But yeah, Google can tell you when their images are generated, and it'll just tell you, yeah, this is made with Nano Banana. Um, so how can we protect ourselves? A little recap. If anyone calls asking for money or personal info with someone familiar's voice, hang up and see if you can call them back on a number you trust, or use that code word that we mentioned if you've established that with them. Look at images and videos with a critical eye on social media. If you see anything that's too shocking or good to be true, chances are it probably is AI in the modern day. And if you want to avoid all of this, you can follow reputable accounts that are known not to post AI images. So whether that's some creators you like or news outlets that you know for a fact don't use AI in their content, you can follow those to try to free your feed of some of that clutter, or as some people call it, AI slop. So, our key takeaways today, AI is a really good tool to use for research, data processing, and actually even image generation. It's pretty good at that. Um, it's good for basically enhancing our productivity, but it's something that we need to verify, and also something that you need to be aware that is changing the world constantly at a very fast pace. So, with AI image generation and videos and all the deep fakes, it's just important to know that all the tools you have access to, all the bad actors have access to as well. But in general, I hope today gives you a really good understanding of how you can interact with these and a bit more about the nuts and bolts of how AI works, what it does, and maybe shown you why everyone has been freaking out about it these days. So we'll go ahead and take any questions now if you've got any of those.
Hey everybody, my name's Paul. I've just been sitting here watching along with you. I'm going to assist Nick. I'm going to read out the questions for people who watch later on YouTube since they will not see them in the chat. Um, but like Nick said earlier, if you have a question, you're going to use the Q&A function that's down at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You might have to click on the More area with the three dots and then open up the Q&A. But it will be there. And I see we do have one question so far, but if anyone else has any, please feel free to start typing them in now, and we'll get to as many as we can before we're out of time. So, Nick, our first question is, Could you tell us one more time how to distinguish between video that is fake or AI generated and video that is real?
Yeah, so AI video has a lot of the same tells that AI images do. So when you look at an AI image, you'll notice things like the inconsistent hands are really popular, and text will warp a lot. So you'll notice, you always look in the background of video. So the foreground, the person's face or the main subject is probably the models have gotten really good. It'll probably be pretty well generated. But if you look in the background, all of the details in the back, you'll see sometimes maybe like someone's riding a bike and they suddenly go through a wall or do something that's impossible. Or you can look at drinks that the person might be holding and the water isn't moving quite right. Um, so always be a bit skeptical of whatever you see online, and it will get a little better over time. But there are actually content creators as well that go in depth about exactly how to spot AI video and common AI scams that are going around. Um, I don't see any other questions right now, so I'm actually going to try to find that. Oh yes, so I see another question if you want to read it, Paul.
Sure. Our next question is, does AI support any other languages?
Yeah, so simple answer with this one, yes, AI does support almost any language because it's trained on data. So as long as they gave it data in that language, um, you're going to be able to talk to it in that language. And again, some other languages with less information or more rare languages might not have as good answers, but it's still just doing its best job at guessing. So you can talk to it in any language. And I see another question there.
Yes. Could you please explain what the features are on the left panel of the ChatGPT interface?
Yeah. So I for that one I can only give a glimpse because it goes a bit out of scope with what our class does, but I can give you a little overview of what each one does. So obviously new chat makes a new chat, search chat here will let you search through your old conversations. Images is a shortcut to creating a new chat with their images model loaded up, but uh, ChatGPT is pretty intelligent, and if you just ask it to make a picture and say, "Show me this" or create a picture of, it'll already make an image for you. These apps are things that people have created and then hooked ChatGPT up to. So maybe someone has made um, like a database search for I think we have like Link Plus. I don't know if you've heard of Link Plus with the library. It lets you rent stuff from or not rent, but borrow stuff from all our library systems. Maybe someone's hooked up an AI to that and they've made an app where you can talk to ChatGPT that knows specifically about that data set for our Link Plus, for example. Deep research will let the AI run for longer and it'll ask itself questions that you think might be important and it'll give you a really really big output almost like a research paper, but it does consume the tokens or the questions you can ask it much faster. Codex I wouldn't worry about so much, but essentially you can use Codex to develop applications with ChatGPT. And projects also is isolated environments. So if you have the chat history turned on, but you don't want it to remember specific things, you can open a project and that creates a new little isolated environment where it won't remember any of your previous chats. Only the chats within that project will be remembered. Okay, so let's go through some of the more of the questions.
Okay. Thank you for that answer, by the way.
Mhm.
Fantastic. The next question, I think I can tackle the answer. Someone wants to know what the next level AI class is. And we don't currently have anything on the calendar, but in the past, we've done uh, classes about specific generative AI involved topics, like creating a resume with AI. And the video for that is, of course, available on our YouTube channel, which I will post a link to before we're done. We also did a class concerning more about AI and ethics and societal implications, and we may do something like that in the future. And as Nick mentioned, another more specific topic would be AI literacy. So keep an eye out for emails from Santa Clara City Library, and if you're not signed up, we'll again show you how you can do that. But whenever we do another AI class, it will be emailed out to everybody, and you'll see advertising for it around the library. So just keep an eye out. And then our next question is, you didn't discuss other AI models, for example, X or Magic School. Do you have any opinions about other popular AI models, I guess? It's a pretty
Yeah,
broad question. You could probably spend
no.
a long time answering that.
You definitely could spend a long time, but in summary, essentially, all of these, most of the AI models, if you've heard of it, it's probably pretty capable. ChatGPT, when it first came out, was quite silly and kind of spitting out nonsense, because that's just what the early stages of the research and development was like. But as it developed, it got a lot better, and so did all the other AI models. So like XAI and Grok 2 can do a lot of this, pretty much anything we've talked about today. The reason I don't showcase them is because there's just so many. I showed the three leading ones, although XAI is up there in the top five, and they all cycle with each other all the time. So really, whatever AI you want to use is going to be pretty solid these days. And um, yeah, they switch between which one is the best one currently, and people measure it a different way, and it's quite inconsistent how they measure it actually. But that's why I just picked three to go over today to show you some differences, but they all have their nuances.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nick. Next question is, what is special about AI chips and CPUs?
Yeah, that question is a little bit advanced for this class to do a deep dive, but essentially, I everyone's been hearing about the AI chips and CPU raves. Um, Funnily enough, for the most part, they're the same as what's in your iPhone or a regular computer. When they say AI chips, they just most of the time it's marketing. They're trying to cash in on the AI hype, and it might say like it has an Intel AI chip inside. All of these, any computer is going to be capable of running AI. It's just a matter of how fast they can do it. When you hear like NVIDIA is making a lot of AI graphics cards and chips, they're just providing strong hardware that can process a lot of data at once. And the big thing with AI chips is that it can process multiple um, computers have multi-core CPUs, and a core is like a brain, and a computer can split into eight different or more brains, and basically it lets it think of or think and process multiple processes at once. These AI chips are really good at that, so it allows these companies to accelerate how fast they can train those models.
Perfect answer. Thank you, Nick. All right, our next question is, how would one use AI as a partner to practice speaking a foreign language, Spanish, for example?
Yeah,
The person asking this question says that they've tried, but it seems like the AI defaults to speaking a little too quickly or too advanced for their purposes.
so that's a great question. It's something we didn't cover in the class today, and I would have loved to if we had a little more time. But maybe we can actually cover it now. If I do a new chat here, maybe let's do it with Claude. So start a new chat, and then let's go to the fast one and say you can prompt it, and basically when you are giving a prompt, you're not only asking a question, but you can also give it context. So our context here is that we are new, very new to speaking Spanish. So we can say something like, hello, I am very, very new to speaking Spanish. um, can you help me get started with learning the language? And let's say, like another thing you could do is you can make a specific request, right? For every answer you give me in Spanish, provide the English, or actually, sorry, let me be more specific. I want you to answer everything twice in Spanish and English. So basically, the more information you give to these AIs, there you go. Perfect. It's going to give us things like translations, and this might be a little too advanced, so it's going to give you some advice. How can I start with practical phrases? greetings and phrases start with hello and goodbye. And say we find like a vocabulary sheet that we're familiar with. So if you're learning with an online class, you can take the vocabulary you have learned and paste it in and say, hey, this is what I do know so far. Can you ask me questions related to these topics? And you might not know some of the words, but it'll use that context you give it and phrase all of its answers around that. So let me see if we can do one real fast because we don't have another question. So let's say like, I know words about playgrounds um, in Spanish. Can we have a simple conversation about that? So let's say our vocabulary includes playground stuff. So here it asks us a really simple phrase. Hola, ¿te gusta ir al parque? Hello, do you like going to the playground? And it really can adapt to whatever of our personal abilities are with the AI. I hope that answers your question pretty well. And I do see we have a little bit of time, and um, I don't have another question right now. So I actually want to show you, since I can. A creator, and again, we're not affiliated with them, but this creator here, Show Tools AI, he has an Instagram account and he might have a blog or something too, but I don't think it's going to let us look at it today. But what he does is he goes over very popular videos that are going viral right now and shows us why they're AI generated, what to look for in those videos. And he talks about common things that these users are, like right now, for example, this lobster bags scam went viral these few days ago, and that's what he talked about in that video. But this guy talks about modern AI, what to spot with it, and he's very big on AI literacy. So he's a great resource if you want to know more about spotting AI. I think that's all we have for questions right now. I'd love to take some more.
Yep, that's everything that's in the queue. So, while we wait to see if we have any more, Nick, would you like to just pop over to our website really quick and um, show everybody how they can sign up to get emails about upcoming Santa Clara Library events?
Yeah, so you can go open a new search. Let me do that again so we're not as fast. So you can open a new search and just type in Santa Clara City Library. And actually, when you click here on our landing page, should be a pop-up right here. It says stay connected on the bottom right, and you can sign up for our latest news and events. So let's see here. Um, I don't have an email actually, so we're gonna use one that doesn't exist, I hope. And when we hit subscribe, oh, it needs to be a valid. Oh, no, that's why. There you go. When we hit subscribe, it'll pop up and we'll confirm. We can create a password to access our library resources. And once you hit submit, it'll automatically sign you up. It might also ask you about what specific newsletters you want to sign up for. So if that's city resources, tech resources, or so on, you can check each box and it'll add you to our newsletter for each. Cool. I do see some more questions.
Yes, and thank you for that demo. So one question is, how can you get Claude for free?
Yeah, so Claude should have a free tier. So when you go to, so I'm already logged in, so it's not going to show for us. But if you just search Claude, it should be the first one, Claude.ai, and you go to log in. Let me log out and we can see if we can actually see the page here. Oh, I might not be able to log out actually. Uh, there you go. Okay, so here you'll sign up and you would enter your email here. And then after you enter your email, um, it'll send you a link and then you enter your phone number and then you're good. You have a Claude account and you can sign up for them and start using the free tier. And I don't know much about the paid tiers, but we're not going to talk about that one today. Cool.
All right. And one more question, Nick. One person would just like to see again how you get to the ChatGPT site.
Yeah, so let's open a new tab. So this is when you first open your browser, you're going to get to something that looks like this. And you're going to go to the very top and click on this bar, this search bar right here. And you're just going to type in chat GPT. Oops, I can type chatgpt.com. And that's it. It'll take you right there. And yep, you'll be
Just
all
like
set.
that.
And
Yeah.
you can log in here too or create an account. If you don't have an account, it'll actually take you here anyways.
But at, in that case, you are limited in how many questions you can ask it. Is that correct?
Right. You will be limited in how many. I actually, if you sign up, you'll still be limited on how many questions you have. But if you do sign up, that limit's a little bit higher, and you can have ChatGPT remember your past chats. So that's the benefit of logging in, which I believe you can do from a button here, or usually it will say sign in down here at the bottom left.
Perfect. All right. I don't see any more questions, so we can start wrapping it up.
Great.
I'll throw it
Yeah.
right back to you, Nick.
Great. I'll give our little spiel, and if we have any questions at the last second, we'll see if we can answer those. So, you can check the library website for our other programs and offerings, and you can sign up for the email notices like I showed you guys, so you can immediately know when the next tech class or any of our other programs are going on. Um, we would appreciate it if you take a moment to fill out our feedback survey, which will automatically appear once you leave the Zoom room. This helps us know what we did well, what we didn't do so well, and it helps us adapt for new AI, or not necessarily AI classes, for new tech classes. And also lets us know what you guys would like to see from us. So if we have enough requests for a specific class, we'll go ahead and do that.
All right. And we did have one last question come in
Yeah.
before we go. So one person wants to know, can I use voice command and voice responses? And I assume they mean when chatting with an AI.
Yes. So absolutely you can. ChatGPT, some of them don't have it. Actually, ChatGPT is the leading one for what you're asking for. And it's going to be when you go to ChatGPT, on this right side, it says use voice. Dictate is going to take what you say and put it into this search bar. Use voice will let you talk conversationally with OpenAI or ChatGPT's generated voice. And that will be helpful. I think you might have been the same person that asked about the Spanish question. You would just give it that same similar prompt or one that you come up with, and you can talk conversationally with it. And I will say that does work a little bit better if you use the app. If you go to the Google Play Store or the App Store, you'll find ChatGPT in there, and this same button will be in there, and you can just talk to it on your phone.
Yes, that's a great point, Nick. There are app versions of all three of the services you demoed today, so you can use it on your smartphone or tablet. Okay, and seeing no more questions, I think we're gonna call it for the evening. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thank you, Nick, for giving us such a great class.
Of course. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
All right, good night, everybody. Oh, and one last thing, I did throw the link to the technology class playlist on the Santa Clara City Library YouTube channel. So you can go there and see our whole backlog. And this class, of course, will also be posted shortly. And you will all get an email once that is up. All right. And with that, we're going to sign off. Thank you, everyone.